Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today's Jira training session. Today, I'm going to be walking you through how to add or modify your board columns. So right now, I've logged on into my project in Jira and I'm already in the board section. But to get to this section, once you go into your project, so if I click on any of my projects, by default, it takes you to the board screening depending on where you last visited. So now I'm going to go into my project and you can see my board from there. On the left-hand side of your screen where you can see my mouse, that's where you need to look at to navigate through. So in your Jira instance, you might not see timeline. So bear in mind, my Jira instance is the cloud version. So it's a bit more of the latest version. So there's some things you probably will be seeing on mine that you would not see on yours. But the process of how you're going to be modifying and adding and updating information in Jira is the same across all the Jira instance. So if you go into your backlog section on your Jira instance, you probably will be seeing backlog, active sprint or Kanban, depending on what board you have set up. So you can either go to the board configuration via your backlog or your active sprint, or if it's Kanban, it makes no difference. So I'll go into my backlog and on the right-hand side where you can see the three dots, I'm circling around it now. And then if you click on that, you would see where it says board configuration or if you're trying to create a new board. So I'm going into the configuration of this board, which is where you would go into if you need to edit your filters, modify your filters, create your quick filters, or anything you need to do for your board, you would need to be able to have access to go to the configuration part to make those modifications. For the instance of this training, we're focusing on columns because I'm going to be showing you how to add more columns to your board or edit what it's already existing. So in this instance, what you would need to do, so you can see in here, there is a plus sign right at the right-hand side. So if I want to add more columns to, I presently do have just 3 to do, in progress and done. Say, for example, I'm going to be adding 2 more columns into this. So I'll just click on the add button. So you can see the minute you click on add, it gives you like a search box where you need to type what that column is supposed to be. So in this instance, I will just type in ready. And then I'll click on the check button. You can see that's created because I wanted to. So I'll create another one called testing. And then those are the 2 columns that I want to have created, okay? Bear in mind on your own Jira instance, you might not see the plus sign. You might see at the top here where it says add column. So it doesn't matter whether you're seeing the plus sign or you're physically saying add column. All you need to do is click on that and then you should be able to add the columns. So once the columns have been added in here, you then want to align them the way you want it to be visible for the rest of your team. So right now, I'm going to be moving my ready to come in after to do. And then testing, I want before my done status. Yeah. So in here, you can see that at the minute, I don't have any statuses aligned to those 2 new columns that I've created. Bearing in mind, the statuses are based on what statuses you presently have on your workflow. So if you've created a column and you've called it, for example, verified, and you do not have that status in your workflow, what you would need to do is either you're adding that to your workflow or you're trying to map an already existing status into that column. So when an issue is created or has transitioned into that particular status, it then goes into that column for you to manage in your board. So depending on what you want to do. So in this instance, I've got 9 to do. I've got a status in my to do, and I want to move everything that every status in my project that is ready for development. I want it to go into this ready column. And then I want everything in the testing to go into the testing column, testing status to go into the testing column as well. I also want anything selected for delivery to go into my to-do. So I will drag and drop in there. Literally, you're dragging and dropping, okay? So now I've defined what I want to see in my column. So if your statuses, you are looking for a particular statuses, or you're trying to, and the statuses are not on your workflow, you would need to go into your workflow to include those statuses in there, or you define what statuses you want to group into a particular column so that your team can then manage that when they're doing their prioritization. Okay, so that's how you add a column and also move statuses about. You can move, if you want your in progress to move from, in this in progress column, you want to move it into another column, you're literally picking it up and dropping it into the right column you want it to be. Bear in mind, the columns is being controlled by what you have in your workflow and what your transition can do. In some cases, you might already say from to do, go to ready for development, go to in progress, go to testing, go to done. If you don't have a backward transition, so you can literally move from to do to this to each of those columns in that order. But if you want to say in progress, you want to move it back to ready for development, if in your workflow you don't have a transition that allows you to go back, you would also not be able to do that in your columns. So it's very, very important that when you're managing columns, you have an understanding of what you're looking for in the workflow, so that when you're making changes, it aligns with what you have with the workflow. Okay, so thank you for staying tuned. If you do have any questions, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Remember, like, subscribe to my channel, and give me a thumbs up if you do like this video. Thank you, and see you in my next video.